Hello everybody and welcome back to another Tankerman 3000 video. Today I'm going to be going over the best berserker setups for every stage of the game. I've got early game through late game. I'll leave the timestamps for that down in the description, but once you finish watching your part, go to the end and I've got some useful tips for berserkers of every stage. Before we get into it, I want to ask you all to please hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps me out and I want to hit 600 subscribers by the end of December. With that being said, let's get into the video. Okay, so starting off with early game. With early game, you should probably only stick to entrance, and it's pretty simple. Use whatever you have. You're going to want to reforge your armor to fierce, and reforge your weapon to whatever will get you the most damage. Use whatever you have, because you probably aren't willing to spend money and invest into a better pet yet. Now, we're going to move on to the early mid-game. This is where you're going to start going around floor 1 and 2, and you're actually starting to get rewards for dungeons. So with this, I'd recommend that you make the investment into a Bonzo Mask and Zombie Soldier. The Bonzo Mask will revive you, and Zombie Soldier is just an all-around pretty good early game armor set. It does have Catacombs 9 requirements, but before you have that, use whatever you have, preferably a Dragon Armor with Fierce. As your weapon, you're going to want to use something like the Aspect of the Dragons, or something with similar damage, because it's not that expensive, and it's quite good. For your pet, you're going to want to look into the Epic Tiger. It's also not that expensive, and it'll provide you with some decent stat buffs as well as ferocity buff that will help you get through these floors. For mid-game, which is around floor 3 and maybe some early 4, you're going to be doing adaptive armor, preferably with your weapon being a Flower of Truth and a Baby Yeti pet, but if you can't, otherwise you should probably use a Wither Skeleton pet. This will provide you high damage and will be quite a good set for Berserker. Now we're going to move on to late mid-game, which is around floor 5, and for this one, you're going to want to have Shadow Assassin armor. You're finally making that jump, but hopefully with floor 3 and 4, you'll be able to make enough money to see the investment in this and invest in the future of dungeons. You're also going to want to use a Flower of Truth or a Livid Dagger on this floor with the Baby Yeti pet if you're using the Flower of Truth, or the Wither Skeleton with the Livid Dagger, which is the more expensive option, but will future-proof you way more. Moving on to late game, which is floor 6 and 7. For this, you're probably going to want Shadow Assassin armor as well. It's a good investment, really good armor set. You're also going to want a Livid Dagger or Giant Sword, and you're going to want to reforge your Giant Sword to 1 for all. For pets, you're either going to use a Wither Skeleton or an Ender Dragon, but the Ender Dragon is quite expensive, so you're probably going to be sticking to the Wither Skeleton for now. Now, I'm going to go over a few things that are just basic for Berserker for dungeons. This will matter for early game or for late game, which is a few things that you should definitely have. So for every floor after floor 1, you should have the Zombie Sword. It'll give you some easy healing, either the Zombie Sword or the Ornate Zombie Sword, which is a slightly better version of it. You're also going to want an AOTE for secrets and teleports to get you out of tough spots or to get you into spots that you might not be able to get to otherwise. All of your armor from this should be reforged to Fierce, with a few exceptions, but the general rule is Fierce, and that's the same for talismans, with the general rule being Strong. The ultimate for your weapon should normally be Swarm or Combo, with a few exceptions like 1 for all for the Giant Sword. I'm also going to go over some info for the Dungeon Orb. So the Dungeon Orb for Berserker is actually quite good. So Bloodlust is your class passive. Your next hit after killing a monster deals 20% increased damage and heals you for 1% of the damage dealt. This bonus expires after 5 seconds. This can be really helpful if you're killing a lot of mobs in quick succession, as you're going to keep doing a lot of damage, which is very helpful. It'll also give you plus 30 speed and plus 30 melee damage. Next is Throwing Axe, which is one of your abilities. This is your shorter cooldown ability, with the cooldown only being 10 seconds. You throw an axe, dealing the same damage as your highest hit in the last minute. This can be really powerful if utilized in a boss room or something like that. Ragnarok is your 60-second cooldown, which summons 3 zombie minions to aid you in battle, which is also quite powerful, but probably not as useful as your basic killing. So yeah, that was the guide for Berserker All Stages. Credits for this video should be on screen now. Thank you so much to Shiro and Lucky Wolf for helping me fact check some of the information in this video. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. You can watch some of my other dungeon videos, which I'll put up on screen now. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.